just what's your view on Austin and Luka together, or how you can either use Austin Reaves to still put together a competitive team this year, or use Austin Reaves to say, you know what, we got to use him to go get that big that's going to be the center for the Lakers for X amount of years. Just your take on Austin Reaves.
I mean, I think Austin, I think because he had a not great showing in the playoffs this year, there's a lot of recency bias as far as like how people are talking about him and how good he is. Like he was like, he averaged 20 points a game this year. I mean, he was great.
Close to 25 and 5.
Yeah, like those are all NBA numbers, like third team all NBA numbers. So I just think that we've lost the plot a little bit on how we talk about Austin Reaves. Not only was Minnesota probably the worst possible matchup for him specifically in the West, due to his lack of athleticism, but I think he was injured for what is it, like 2/3 of that series or something. So with the same injury that Darius Garland is now about to get surgery for and miss like 4 to 5 months. So I would pump the brakes a little bit on like the Austin discourse and like the hate. I do understand like long term, is he the perfect fit next to Luka in the backcourt? Probably not, just because neither of them are like high level defenders and neither of them are particularly athletic, and that's tough to overcome in your backcourt in this like hyper athletic.
I'd be perfect for that backcourt. I mean, you said you can't play defense and unathletic. I mean, I fit right in.
I also think both Austin and Luka are like have become slightly underrated as defenders, in the sense like neither of them are good. I don't want to like mince any words about that. They're not good defenders, but neither of them are like abominable defenders either. It's like Luka has like some issues with defensive focus, I would say sometimes, but they both do a commendable job when they're locked in. They're just not good enough to compete with like the caliber of the guards talent in the West is just off the charts absurd. And you need a high level defender to defend them. But what I would say, and what I've tried to say to Laker fans in general, is like, I don't want to get into the weeds talking about the CBA and salary cap and all that stuff because it's boring. But essentially, like, Austin makes, what is it, like $14 million right now? Mm-hmm. So, and the Lakers are a taxpayer, which means they can't take back more salary than they give out. So if you want to do a trade for Austin Reaves, you have to get back a player that makes what Austin Reaves makes. And you're not going to get back a player of Austin's caliber for $14 million. He's on one of the best value contracts in the league right now. So if I was the Lakers and I knew that the move was to eventually move off of Austin for like the Luka future Lakers 2.0, whatever, post LeBron, I would keep him this year. He's in a contract year. He's going to be balling his ass off, as he should. And then sign him to whatever the market commands that you sign him to, probably in the neighborhood of like between 30 and 40 million a year, it looks like. And then use that salary hold to trade for someone that you think is a better fit for Luka for the future. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah. So by the way, I think what you said, which makes a lot of sense as well. I think the point of whatever you saw last is what your impression is of that. Right. I mean, I can't tell you how many Laker fans that I've heard say, JJ's not the guy. JJ,
that's ridiculous,
was phenomenal.
He was incredible
all season long. And I will also tell you, I didn't think he was good in the playoffs.
No,
I think the roster had flaws, and I think JJ was inexperienced in the playoffs.
He looked like a rookie head coach in the playoffs. That was the first time all season that he really truly looked like it was his first time at the rodeo.
I agree. And the justification of saying, well, like, and I think there's some comps there with the Reaves thing. It's like, if you don't think there's a big difference between thinking Reaves is a good player and not a good player, and there's a big difference between saying, I think Reaves is a good fit, and I don't think Reaves isn't, or I think Reaves is not a good fit. For those that think that Austin Reaves is not a good player, I don't really have an argument with. I don't want to.
Not a serious argument.
Exactly. Like there's no debate there for me to have. But if your argument is, can you truly be a championship caliber team with Luka and Austin Reaves as your backcourt in today's NBA? You got to have a little bit of a defensive presence, need two-way guys. That's a different argument. And I think that's a fair conversation. You're not I think your point of not, and and I don't think the Lakers are going to do this because I think two things aren't going to happen. Number one, I don't think they're going to trade him for a Nick Claxton type of player because there's too much value in Austin Reeves. And number two, I don't think Bam Adebayo is going to become available to trade him for that caliber of a player. So I think the idea and the option is saying, let's just hold off then. And if we have to pay him market value next year, then we'll pay him market value because he's still going to have value in the NBA once he does sign his contract.
100%. And I would add, like, I think, people talk a lot about what Austin doesn't have and what he doesn't bring to the table in the form of like that defense and athleticism. But if you're going to replace Austin Reeves, you're going to lose like high level ball handling. Like if you recall, Austin was playing point for a good chunk of the season before AD got traded. And even now, like when Luka is off the floor, they've been staggering those minutes. So like Austin is the primary ball handler out there, and he's really good at it. He's a really, really high level ball handler and facilitator. He has that in his game. So if you replace Austin, you're going to have to replace him with someone with similar level of ball handling skills, facilitation skills, or you're going to be losing that. And I think that that's not easy to find. Like off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of like a great point of attack defender who has great ball handling and facilitation skills, who has that athleticism, who can run point. I mean, it's like there's not very many of those players in the league. So I think people have this kind of pie in the sky, like, oh, we need to replace Austin. And it's like, you're going to be losing everything that Austin brings to the table in addition to gaining what he doesn't, not to mention the fact that anyone of Austin's caliber is already making a minimum of $30 million a year, which is double what you're paying Austin at the moment.
Yeah. The one thing I would be open to, and I think it's worth exploring here for the Lakers, if they're able to kind of fill in that center role and they found somebody that they feel like, okay, hey, this is definitely a huge upgrade from what we had in the past. I think there's an argument to be made, especially why he's still only making $14 million. Put Dorian Finney-Smith in the starting lineup with Luka, let Austin Reeves come off the bench, and he's still going to play starter minutes. I think I think sometimes you get lost with there's some great players and great championship rosters or teams that gone far that have really good players that are the first guy off the bench. And I wonder if, like you're saying, from Austin Reeves now doesn't have to be a third option. Austin Reeves can have the ball in his hands a little bit more if Luka's on the bench, get a little bit of a breather or whatever the case is. I mean, whatever that combo looks like. I think they still have options with Austin Reeves. I think that's something that could be explored as well. But I'd rather be looking at ways to use Reeves than just saying, well, Reeves has got to go because this big is available and this big is not a top tier, obviously one of the better centers out there.
For sure. And I think the other thing that the average fan, to be honest, like just misses is that sort of like chemistry continuity factor that has proven so beneficial for a team like Oklahoma City or a team like Indiana. Like obviously that's not everything, but like Austin is a beloved guy in that locker room. Like the whole coaching staff loves him and he's really easy to work with. Like just a really good dude, works really hard, like no ego.
Came through the system.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that's worth a lot, honestly. Like, we saw with the Russell Westbrook experiment, like, it's not just about like, I mean, to be fair, that didn't even look right on paper. But maybe bad example in that respect, but like, it's not just about like how someone's resume or what it looks like on paper. It's about like what happens when you bring them into this locker room and like, what kind of alchemy does that create? And I think having your third best player be someone who can be egoless, can do whatever the team needs, gets along with everybody, super easy to work with. That's worth a lot, especially with personalities as big as LeBron and Luka as your top two.
All right. Thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.